Yeah, hi. My name's Warren Walshwater. First of all, I want to thank you both for meeting with your constituents. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad you came forward with it, Senator. I don't know you. You're not my senator, but I do congratulate you on your win, and thank you for meeting with us. I hope it's something you might consider doing on some kind of regular basis. It really gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit. I'm interested in hearing more about the fact, I'm glad to hear that there's a plan to try to reconcile not just the budget reconvene, but also some outstanding bills.
Yes.
There's a couple of bills of particular interest to me, and I don't quite know where we stand on them, or if they're, so maybe both of you can let me know where they stand. And they both got a lot of ink. One is having to do with reproductive rights of women. The second had to do with the whole family leave bill.
Yeah.
I know you've been very active in supporting and sponsoring, I think.
Well, the family leave bill is pretty mature. Yeah. I mean, right now there's a difference, I think, in the number of days that you can accrue or the size of the business.
Are you talking about the paid sick leave bill?
Paid sick leave?
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, both houses want to pass that. Okay. The only difference in the bills, as far as I understand right now, is there was a lot of meetings that went on with the small businesses. The small businesses were very concerned that if you've got 2 or 3 people working for you, the paid sick leave program, the way it's structured, would be a burden. So in the negotiations with that, it went to, well, if your company has more than 10 employees, and then went to 18 employees, I think, on the House side, and the Senate went to 50, and I think that's where it lies right now. So I would think that we'll get to a bridge on that difference and pass that, because it appears to me anyway that the political will is to pass that sick leave legislation as soon as we can, as soon as we settle on how many employees does a company have to have for it to be mandatory as opposed to voluntary. Okay, so that's where that is, I think.
Yeah, so the Senator's exactly correct. That did go back and forth, and that did have a lot of time invested in it on everyone's effort and energy in regards to that. And what we came down to was a 3-year roll-in, and we also did it for seasonal employees. We carved out the seasonal companies so that that was protection. So it seemed to be that both sides had come to just about to where they wanted to be in regards to the limit on the plateau for the size of the businesses. So the Senate had 10, the House came back with 18, and I'm hearing 15. What that does, that protects the mom and pop shop that may have only 1 employee to print, to do printing or do packaging. And if that 1 employee doesn't show up, they either can't do their business or they have to hire another employee to fill in that backlog. So that I believe the Senator is correct that we'll see that one come up.
So that's the type of bill that you expect to have come up during some fall session, as opposed to waiting until January?
Certainly, speaking for Kenny as well as myself, I will strive to get that in the fall. I think you never know what's really going to happen, but everything I've heard is there will be a fall session, okay, and there was a lot left on the table, okay, when we ended, that needs to be fixed. The reproductive rights thing, I don't think that's going anywhere. Right now, that's buried in the Senate Judiciary Committee. It did not come out. Whether it does or not, that's going to be up to the chairman of that committee and what the majority leader and the Senate president say. I don't know where it is in the House.
Same scenario on the House side. They didn't come out of the Judiciary Committee. I can say from what I see and feel from the House and side of the equation is that everybody feels that certainly a woman has a right to their decision on what they do with their body. And doctors should not be held accountable for making a split-second decision that will either protect one life or another. But what I'm hearing is that while we recognize that the Trump administration is putting some serious concerns throughout the country in regards to what he intends on doing, the law, Roe versus Wade, is still the law in this country. And they don't anticipate the Supreme Court ever getting to taking this up again, at least not in this current year or the upcoming year. And until such a time they feel as though the law currently exists in the state of Rhode Island, that Roe versus Wade exists here, and until such a time there really isn't that real sense of urgency to codify it. That's the sense.
So, thanks, Rick. So it's your sense that unless there's some change in federal legislative status,
Yeah.
that bill won't see the light of day
In some federal shape or form, I don't see that. I could be mistaken.
No,
I could be mistaken, but I think that, and if it does happen, you will see people taking a very difficult vote that they wouldn't necessarily normally take, but they will take it on the side of women's rights.
Suppose you're on recess.
What's that?
Suppose you're on recess and something like that happens.
Good question.
There's no safeguard.
Good question. Yeah, you're right. I think that that's a situation where you may see an emergency session be put forth, where we have the opportunity to call session at any time. And if something of that, I think it wouldn't happen in a recess period because we would know that it was already in Supreme Court's hands and being heard, and there would be a timeline while it was being heard, as well as a change of Supreme Court justices. So, you know, it's a 6-month window that you would have that change. But, yeah, so, yeah, that's a serious, question and a serious concern. But I think that there would be that timeline where we would be able to reconvene and take it up and codify it if necessary.
I would like to see it come out of committee and at least go to the floor. I'm still learning the ropes, okay? But I would say I'm really not that comfortable with the fact that somebody can work hard on a piece of legislation, get it introduced, have it assigned to a committee, never to be heard of again. And that's part of the legislative leadership and management process right now. Now, reproductive rights did get a hearing, and the room was full. Okay, and I think the message, the national surveys on it are clear. Certainly the sentiment in the hearing room was clear when these bills were heard. I'd like to see them come out. I have heard the same sentiments in the Democratic caucus in the Senate that it's a personal issue. I don't want to be forced to do something until external circumstances force me to do something, and then I will. That's sort of a promise for the future that may or may not end up becoming a reality. I would be more comfortable if we could get it out on the floor. I couldn't tell you today whether or not it would pass on the Senate floor, because when it comes to that, it gets personal, and how an individual is going to cast their vote one way or another. A lot of that is your own personal views, your religious views, the way you were brought up, and what you believe in.
But you don't represent yourself there. You represent...
No, you don't, but that doesn't relieve you from doing what you think the right thing is, regardless of what the public pressures may be. And that's part of just being a representative government. Yes, I want to represent your interests, but if I'm failing my own personal code in order to represent your interests, that's a hard call. you know? And I'll tell you right now, if it comes on the Senate floor, I will vote for it. I believe in it. So, but that's one person out of 38. One person out of 75. So it's, but I have heard those very same sentiments voiced from senators that if push came to shove and there was an external threat, that the state would act, because it's very clear within the state of Rhode Island that the general consensus is a woman does have that right to choose, and you cannot impede that. And if it took legislation to assure that, I will say I think there's some degree of confidence you could take that we will do that, what I think would be the right thing. Not everybody will say it's the right thing. It might be the political thing. So,
Thank you.
but right now, your question was, where is it? Well, it's buried. Okay, it did not come out of committee.